So, the text, he says, true progress and evolution is directed towards one goal alone. The course of life leads to that supreme goal, which is everlasting peace and bliss. Living beings seek pleasure, joy, happiness all their lifetime. Some seek through material and physical means, others through emotions, yet others through knowledge. For instance, a man desires wealth. Analyze his desire. What is it he really seeks? He wants wealth only to gain comforts, pleasure, happiness. So it is with emotion and knowledge. Everything you seek in the world boils down to happiness. You believe happiness resides in the world at large. You look for it everywhere. Extroverted pursuits have never succeeded in finding happiness. For happiness lies within your own person. You must therefore direct your efforts towards your own self to find it. There is no other way. So he uses this term here, extroverted pursuits. So you're probably familiar with the words extrovert, introvert. In different contexts, they have different meanings. They mean different things. In the context of this text or this tradition, extrovert, introvert has a specific definition. It refers to the direction of your attention, the direction of your thoughts. So an extroverted person is one whose thoughts are running consistently out into the external world. Why? Because I know when I get that thing, then I'll be happy. So we are enamored by, we're preoccupied with external experiences or objects in the external world. So he refers to them here. Material wealth, physical well-being, emotional relationships, knowledge, etc. The mind is always running out with that thought of what can I get? How can I satisfy a desire? So there's nothing inherently wrong with looking to be satisfied. Of course, that's exactly what we're talking about. But what he does point out is the futility of certain pursuits. We all want to be satisfied, of course we do. But if we approach that project in a particular way, it's going to be self-defeating. Now, we often use that example of, you say you want to get to San Diego, and so you get on the 405 and head north. That's the destination you've picked for yourself. And yet, the method you're choosing to get there is self-defeating. You'll never get there. This is the exact same sort of idea. The destination that we've set for ourselves is, as he says, everlasting peace. If we try to get there through extroverted pursuits, we'll find that we'll never get there. Everything else gets put on hold because of that psychological pressure to go and get the object. So anytime that we function on desire, we're going to be experiencing that sense of lack and that sense of agitation. What we then do is contact an object out there. What that does is it immediately quells the agitation. So what we've done is address the symptoms, as it were, the sense of lacking something, the sense of agitation, but we haven't addressed the cause. We haven't addressed the cause of the desire, and so naturally it will spring forward again. You know, it's like you're weeding the lawn, weeding your garden, and you just yank, and you snap the weeds off at about the level of the soil. You look down at your garden and say it's beautifully weeded. It's nice and clean, wonderful. Come back 3 days later, there they are again. Because you've raised the top, and you haven't dragged out the root. You haven't dragged out the cause. The exact same thing. Contact the object, down it goes. And then over a period of time, minutes, hours, weeks, months, years, bang, it pops its way out again. So true progress then is the reduction of the cause of our agitation. He says, you must therefore direct your efforts towards your own self. So this is the method. This is what he's talking about with spirituality. It's being introverted. So if an extrovert is one whose attention is directed outwards, an introvert is one whose attention is directed inwards, towards the subject of one's experiences. So the introvert then is is not someone who doesn't engage in the world. Often we have this idea that an introvert is someone who doesn't go out, doesn't relate to people, doesn't engage, isn't active, very cloistered and at home and by themselves. Here, that's not what an introvert means. An introvert simply means someone whose attention is directed inwardly while they are functioning in the external world. So the reason that we direct our attention inwardly is because we've recognized that if we're going to sustain our own happiness, we've got to do that. We've got to start looking within now for the causes of our agitation. And the way that we do that, one of the ways that we can do that is by questioning every activity that we perform. What am I doing? So this is with regard to any specific action. It's also with regard to any course of action that we've adopted. I'm going to university and studying. I'm getting into a relationship. I'm having a family. I'm doing whatever. Why am I doing it? The moment we ask that question, what we're doing is getting down to the cause of the action itself. Right? We never perform an action without having a value for it. So by asking, what am I doing, why am I doing it, we're starting to dig into our own values. So this is why he says, direct your effort towards your own self. It was exactly what we were talking about earlier. Why do I experience my world the way that I do? That's an introverted question. You're not asking the question, why is the world the way that it is? You're asking, why do I experience the world the way that I do? Why am I happy? Why am I suffering? We don't normally ask, why am I happy? When you're happy, you don't think about it. Hopefully, if we're suffering, we at least ask that question, why am I suffering? I'm in a relationship and yet I feel lonely. Why? I've got a great job and yet it feels boring and meaningless. Why? I have a beautiful family and life lacks luster. Why? I'm fit, healthy, I've got everything I could possibly want and I'm still dissatisfied. Why? So anytime we ask this question, we're looking within. What Vedanta does is it gives us a series of ideas which help us to answer those questions.